The opinions, views, and conclusions expressed in this show are those of the show host and co-host and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of KPFE FM or its affiliates.
Neveada Republic, a show of history that is not taught in schools nowadays. Tune in and learn the true history of the Republic. Now here is your host.
Yo, Toey 2. Hello, how are you? On this 13th, is it 13th day, right?
Yes, it is.
13th day of May, in the year of our Lord, 2025. This is the real American law. And what is the real American law? Every state has it, and some of the territories, except Louisiana. And that law is,
That's law?
well, that's part of
Common law?
the common law of England. Now, as you know, that we're a Neveada Republic Common Law Private Members Association. We follow God's law. In fact, we're trying to become a lawful republic since the state of Nevada, since 1864, I think it was, became a franchise state under the corporate president of Lincoln by corporate executive orders. Now, that's not lawful. You can only become a lawful state done with a lawful Congress and Senate. But we haven't had a lawful Congress or Senate since March 27th, 1861. We've been ruled over by the United States of America Incorporated, a Scottish Crown Corporation, and you can look this up. I mean, they're even in our U.S. code. So, why do I say that? Because if you read the Treaty of Paris, the Treaty of Paris that they signed, French king and the Americans, after the war, King George kept the land. He did not deed any of the land, neither did any of the corporations that had land holdings in the colonies. They decided to keep it all. So we got freedom as people, to be stewards of the English land. So we've had 3 revolutions in this country. You know the first one, and that was a false flag. In fact, George Washington was an agent of the Crown. So he sold this country out. In fact, he was branded a traitor by the Continental Congress. And so was the 53 delegates to that convention he had, because they come up, instead of writing additions to certain amendments or coming up with new amendments for the Articles of Confederation, he come up with a new Constitution. Now, in the Articles of Confederation, we were 13 independent state republics. So when he wrote up his Constitution, we became one republic. So the reason why King George didn't like all that independence, he wanted to be able to consolidate into one so he had better control. And that's what George Washington did for him. And how did he do this? How did he get all these 13 Congresses, these different state republics, to agree to it? Well, he had unlimited supplies of London English coin, silver, and he bought off all these congressmen or assemblymen. So that's how the whole happened. He was just an agent. Even Ben Franklin was an agent. I mean, there was a lot of them. And they sold out, or they might have sold out ahead of time, and they were all Masons. So we were lied to. First American Revolution was a false flag. Second Revolution, the War of 1812. And what was that all about? Because we have the 13th Amendment, original 13th Amendment, that says no person of nobility can hold a government position. Now, if you've gone to a lawyer's office, you'll see that most of them have a title, Esquire. Esquire is a position of nobility below knighthood. Well, that was eliminated. Well, the king didn't like that. He wanted his people in, the British accreditation registry, the bar, he wanted his people in the government, controlling the government, because we are the first Commonwealth nation. We were the experiment. Third revolution was what you think is the Civil War. And what happened there? The 6 southern states were tired of paying royalties to the crown for the land they were using to grow their cotton on. They wanted to keep all that. So that government was wiped out under an international law because they didn't have a quorum and didn't reconvene. So the government was wiped out under international laws. So the Queen Victoria and Abe Lincoln come up with the United States of America Incorporated, a Scottish Crown Corporation. And Congress and Senate was part of that corporation. The president was a corporate deal, and the Union Army was part of that corporation. Now, if you know Civil War history, you know that a lot of the war was fought with Irishmen and Prussians, Germans, that fought for the Queen, previous wars. But she had no wars going at the time. So she recruited all these and put them in the Union Blue. All the Civil War battles done in Missouri were done with German immigrants, Prussian soldiers. So people don't know that. I mean, if you go and study about the Irish fighting in the Civil War, you notice that the Irish fighting for the Union would be like Northern Ireland fighting the regular Irish. So when these Irish clans saw each other, they forgot the rest of the war, the battle. They went and fought each other during the battle. So that was a regular feud going on, and people don't know that the naval blockade was done with the Russian Navy, because the Russians owed the Queen some favors.
You know, this is not what we learned in school.
Oh no! And the reason I'm saying this is because I found out some people in high school, some kids, and probably college, are going through history lessons right now. So I want to tell you, everything they're going to tell you is a lie, propaganda, brainwashing. If you want to know the truth, watch our show here, Neveada Republic. We got recordings of our previous shows. It goes back and find some older ones on YouTube. But if you go to 98.1 FM, KPFV on Facebook, punch that in for the site you want to go to. You'll go to our station's different shows and just look up Neveada Republic, and you can look at our old shows, and we'll tell you what the law is. Or give us a call. You can call in here. It's 775-990-4900. Of course, I can't answer the phone right now. Dr. Frank comes back. He does disappearance act for a while. If he comes back, I'll let you know. You can call in then. Or you can call our number and set up and make an appointment for us to get together somewhere. You know, if you got a bunch of people, we can meet at the library or something. And we can have a little discussion, open discussion. I can tell you where you can find a lot of this good information. You can call us at 775-513-2618. Just leave a text there, what you want, who you are, and a phone number, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. There's so many scams going by, we don't answer the phone. Just leave us a text, and we'll get a hold of you. We'll call you back. But we'll be happy to have a little meeting somewhere and educate you, and so where you can educate your teacher and maybe get an A out of it.
Or an F.
Yeah, like my wife, when she was doing German, you know, she's fluent in German because she is from Germany. But anyway, in high school, her teacher flunked her, and she went to the principal, and the principal got rid of the teacher. You know, sometimes they're a little embarrassed at that stuff. So anyway, that's what we want to talk about. I want to hit you on that because I hear you're having that education deal. Oh, the other thing is, I would like to welcome the 59 South African refugees that came here, and there's a lot more. It's better they come here than be butchered by that Communist Party.
Oh.
Well, they're the only Communist Party going. I mean, well, in Venezuela, Russia is no longer a communist group. But they're killing the farmers, ranchers, vineyard owners. If you're white and you have a farm, you're a dead person. Even their present government is made an order to go ahead and do it.
Oh my.
So, and these poor people who come from Holland, they're called the Boers, and the turn of the 20th century, they're in the late 1800s, 1900s, the British invaded South Africa because they wanted to control the diamond mines and the great farmland. So they fought the Boers. So those people have gone through a lot of nonsense, and it's never been the same. So I feel sorry for these guys. And Elon Musk, you know how to get hold of me. Call me. Let's make out some arrangements. I know here in Nye County, we could use some farmers, good farmers. We got plenty of land available, fresh water. Or there north of Austin, where you got your factories, you can hire them there and put them in the factories. And I know all across America, there's small towns with farmland that are hurting for people to move in. I mean, you could set up some South African communities,
Yes.
kind of like the Amish do. But they're your people. Put your money to good use. And if you come here by helping them, you can also help the homeless. We can use your nice factory-built modular homes you got, those tiny homes and the bigger ones, the box ones.
Get rid of the corruption.
Yes, help us get rid of this corruption. You know what's going on. You and I have been communicating. So now's a good time. Do something for you people. Do something for where you started your business at here in Nevada. Let's make it a real republic of real rights, not corporate rules and regulations and codes, which are not law at all. And put some lawful not commonwealth, common law constables in charge. Get rid of these corporate sheriffs. They're nothing but a security force. And they have no right to arrest you or even ticket you unless you have a contract with them. And that's what the Supreme Court said. Even these courts have no rights unless they have a contract with you. Or even the county commissioners, they don't have no right to tax you unless you have a contract with them. I mean, wake up, people. They're supposed to be obeying the laws of this state, which is the common law of England. We are an English common law country. We're a Commonwealth nation. Our military belongs to the British. They fight for a British corporation, well, a Scottish corporation, excuse me. The president, Donald Trump, he fights for, he's the supreme commander and he's the president of a Scottish corporation. Not to mention, I say supreme commander, he's the supreme commander for all the Commonwealth nations: Canada, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, India, England. And the reason England doesn't have a big military no more, why do they need it? They got it here. Every time they get in a war, who do they call? They call their Commonwealth military to come fight for them. So that's the deal. And like I was telling Miss Julia, when she joined the military, she joined a corporate military. Was it for this country? You weren't fighting. Remember, the United States of America is a corporation. States of America, within an independent States of America, within a confederation of independent republics, state republics. That's what this country is. So, you want to fight for a corporation? Go right ahead. So, I mean, the retired, ex-Marine Corps commandant between the first part of the 1900s into the 30s, he wrote a book, War is a Racket. It's a good book to read. He tells you all about what he was doing with his Marines. And they asked him, why did you stay in the Marine Corps? He says, I was trying to protect my boys. See, we were being used as security forces for these big corporations, pineapple companies, oil companies. I mean, they use us like we were a security company. And that's what all these wars, none of these wars have been just. They've been done by bankers and corporations. So I don't know if you remember during the 1800s, the military passed a law. It was either a major or colonel rank. You could no longer ride a horse. You had to use a carriage. You remember that? And then they went to automobiles.
Yes.
But the reason they started that was because these companies that had the carriages, weren't getting none of the war money. So they said, wait a minute, why can't we get it? Pass something that benefit us. So that's what they did. They passed a law, and he even talks about this. Ridley does. But it was so carriage companies could be helped. I mean, they overproduced so much stuff in the First World War. It was ridiculous. And speaking of the war, I just got my publication here from the Hillsdale College. You know, our current defense expenses stand it. You know what they go for right now?
Billions?
Well, yeah, but you got any idea what price?
549 billion.
Well, they were 330 something.
Over?
No,
Off?
low.
Oh.
It's $875 billion per year.
Oh.
And when you add the cost of intelligence, which is vast, the total cost of defense rises to about $1 trillion. Why do we fight?
Exactly.
It says in the Constitution we don't get involved in overseas deals because the king, Charles is the king right now. Of course, he's not the lawful king. Puts us in a war. And that's why him and Elizabeth didn't get along. But he really didn't. Elizabeth didn't really pick him to be the supreme commander. The Commonwealth nations voted on Trump to be their supreme commander. People don't know Trump went to a military academy that was a high school level.
Really?
So he does know a lot of stuff about military. Plus the fact we have no national air defense system. So how are we going to shoot anything down?
I thought we did.
No.
Oh.
Israel has it all. Or we give it to Ukraine. We don't have nothing. In World War I, the U.S. spent 4.8 million. Oh, excuse me. We sent 8.8 million soldiers directly or indirectly into the war, mainly in Europe. We also sent 1.325 million horses and mules to the battlefield. That's a slaughter. In World War II, we sent 16.8 million soldiers to fight in Europe, North Africa, and Asia, around 4 times more than World War I. And we manufactured 2,751 Liberty ships in 18 shipyards, turning out 3 ships every 2 days. Today, building a cargo ship takes years, and most of the production takes place outside the U.S. China's delivery time now averages around 3 years, with tankers at 2.8 years, and liquefied natural gas vessels even longer. Dry bulk carriers ordered in 2024 are currently expected to be delivered in 3.6 years on average. In World War II, aircraft, including 63,715 fighters and fighter bombers for the U.S. Army, Air Force, Navy, and Marines. Today, the total number of fighter aircraft in the Air Force, Navy, and Marines is only 2,531. That's pretty bad. Now, what really got me is, I mean, there's other things in here, but I just kind of go on things I thought people might enjoy listening to. I figured this thing open again. My wife is having a problem with it now. I'm having a problem with it.
I think it's winning.
Okay, here we go. I figured. All right. So what they said, when the Iranian-backed Houthis started firing drones at ships in the Red Sea, what was the U.S. response? For every $30,000 Iranian drone we shot down, $30,000, that's why the Russians use them, they're cheap. We employed $2 million missiles. Now, what they discovered in the ground forces in Ukraine, that are Russians and Ukrainians, found that relatively inexpensive shotgun technology is proving more effective against drones than previously tried methods.
Well, of course.
It's like trap shooting.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, well, make a bigger shotgun. Shoot them down with. Why we spend $2 million? My goodness. It's ridiculous. So, I mean, I worked when I was contracted. I did a job for General Dynamics, San Diego Airport. in one of the hangars, and it was so they could make their missiles.
Oh.
The Navy. And I was in there, we're doing the assembly stuff. Well, we put everything in the way the engineering wanted it, engineered the project. Well, when we turned it over to them, we're watching our maintenance guys come in, and we made these fancy stands, copper with the quick disconnects on them so they can run their air hoses and other stuff. Well, they come in and cut the stand off high. Instead of being rigid all the way up, they put a hose down and they took the little branch piece setup we made and hooked into it and eliminated the rest. I said, wow, what a waste of copper. I said, can I have that? No, they wouldn't give it to me. But gee,
Waste of time.
and it's and I was on time and material.
Mhm.
I mean, it's ridiculous. So, I mean, once Sunday, they chased us out of the hangar where we were working, because they had some helicopter lifts, air handlers going up on the roof, air conditioners.
Mm.
So they didn't want nobody inside the hangar. So they go out in the parking lot and wait out there. So how long you figure this be? They said probably about 3 hours. And this on double time day. I said, hey, can we go for breakfast or do something more useful instead of standing here watching these helicopters, since we're not. Actually, he says, that's our work, but I'm not going to argue because I'm not here as a contractor.
Right.
And he says, what do you want to do? I said, I want to take my guys to breakfast. I said, tell you what, since you got doubts about this, I'll bet you that we're back in the parking lot within 5 minutes of that last pick, or you don't pay us. Oh, he said, we're going to pay because we're making money too. But he says, I'll accept your bet anyway. So what we did, we went up to the up on the hill, old San Diego. There's a nice Mexican restaurant up there with a table out there on the patio, and glass around it so no wind.
Oh, wow.
And so it was a buffet. I said, have all you want. You can't have no alcohol.
Yeah.
So we was watching. I said, when we say go, we're going. And I paid the ticket ahead of time. And that's all we did. We sat there and we watched the little.
Oh, you watched?
We watched everything. And we boogied down there. And he said, where the hell were you? I said, we was up there at I forgot what it was. Old Mexico or something like that. Damn it, I don't know what I went with. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of wasting money in government contracts. So what would you like to talk about?
Oh, boy. Okay.
I'm giving Miss Julia a free night.
Yoo-hoo. Well, the guys before us said, call them out. And I thought, well, that's interesting because it's kind of similar to what I'm going to be talking about.
Well, let's talk. One thing I didn't like to mention when he's talking about Zelensky.
Yeah.
All right. They had a treaty agreement already initialed. It was all off. Everybody agreed to it. The Russians and the Ukrainians agreed to this. Even Zelensky. And they were going to come back to sign it.
Right.
Well, the ex-prime minister of Great Britain told him no.
What?
Yeah. He told him no. We'll supply you with all the military stuff you need and maybe help you with manpower.
Did not know that.
They didn't sign it. But see, that's not brought up.
No.
They had a treaty that they agreed to. So don't say the Russians ain't agreed. They had it. And the Ukrainians agreed to it. Now the other fact is, Ukraine is a dictatorship. He canceled the elections last May. So that's not a democracy.
No.
It's not a in fact, we overthrew the constitutional government. And we allowed them to put this idiot in. So don't say Russia's not doing nothing. No. He gave them plenty of time. In fact, most of the stuff that was destroyed, which are now Russian territories,
Right.
have been rebuilt.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You can find it on YouTube. I mean, they're going through, they showed all the new apartments and schools that have been rebuilt. He brought 25,000 workers, mainland Russia, into there, and they rebuilt the town.
Wow.
Now, Ukraine hasn't done nothing. And they're going to let the Europeans pay to rebuild that. That's why they said we have it better now than we had with the Ukraine. We don't have Soviet era apartments. We have brand new apartments, brand new schools. It's nice shopping.
Yeah.
And what's nice is that in those apartments, in a sense, they lease them or buy them, but the downstairs section is where they put businesses. So
Oh, well,
you really don't have to go out in the snow to go shopping.
they've been talking about that in Las Vegas, but I don't see where they've done it yet.
Yeah. Well, that looks good. So Frank is back. So if anybody wants to call in, once again, that number is 775-990-4900. And by the way, I'm Gary Wayne, your host and divine teacher. And let me make a comment on this divine teacher deal. I didn't ask for this. This was given to me, and I accepted it. 'Cause who's going to say no to God? And I keep hearing that Archangel Michael's here with his military. So protecting us. But if you stop to think about this, what he's doing now is trying to educate and wake everybody up from this cabal from Satan, straighten it all out, and have you do what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to rely on God to do it all. You're supposed to get in there. Exactly. It's like Noah. He put the word out. We're going to build this big ark. If you come help, you can get on it and survive. Well, they laughed at him. Well, how many of you thinking are probably laughing at me? I don't care if you're laughing or not. That's, I know where I'm going. I know where you're going too.
I know where I'm going.
So if you don't get involved in this, good luck. I hope you bring an air conditioner with you, because you ain't gonna get past those gates. I already got my ticket. So, of course, it's a round trip. This ain't the first trip I've been here, and I understand. So once again, I'll probably be sent somewhere. So, it's funny when you get aware of it, and you got other ones that knew you from past that were sent here to participate, help out. So, yeah, this whole group is spiritual, and like I said, that's why I have 7-pointed Christian star, because we are a kingdom of God on earth, part of His kingdom on earth. So, I'm sorry, Miss Julie.
Oh,
Once
that's
again,
okay.
go for it.
Quick question.
Yes.
Can I bring her up?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, and the reason why.
Well, she's a public employee, or was a public employee.
Oh, she will be again. Okay, now I'm going to be bringing up Justice of the Peace Fiore. Not right now. I am going to bring up something that's going on in Las Vegas right now, and it's through a podcast. And what's going on right now?
Is that the veterans?
Yes, veterans in politics. Now, right now, they're discussing. It's called. It's regarding the Supreme Court Justice Herndon, Herndon. Years ago, when he was a prosecutor, he withheld evidence. And by doing that, this young man, an innocent young man, was found guilty. And I believe he spent 21 years in prison. And now it's being brought up. Well, this is interesting. Now, listen to this. It's being they're trying to get the Judiciary Committee involved. However, the Judiciary Committee is refusing to hear it because he was not a judge at the time the incident occurred. There's an actual letter sent to the veterans in politics. And why I am bringing this up, it's because it basically falls into the same category as Fiore. Now, I don't know, it's very hard. because I'm a person trying to fight corruption right now. And I know several other people in this county who are trying to fight the corruption.
Let me say something about this. Like she said, there's other people. Now, if we all get together, work together, we can do this. As long as we fight individually.
Right. So what's very sad is they have basically assassinated Fiore in public. Whether or not we're ever going to know the whole truth, I can't say. But when you listen to her discussion with veterans in politics, she explains what happened. Um, and the only thing I can say is that when she says that there was evidence withheld and there was misbehavior and dishonesty from multiple agencies, well, you know, I'm sorry, but I believe her because that is exactly what I am going through, and that is exactly what others in this county are going through right now. And like I said, everybody has their own opinion, but all I'm asking is everybody listen to the entire situation. Um,
Well, like I said, we approached her, the Justice for Journalist for Justice,
uh-huh.
and she says she can't do it right now, which seems to me that's foolish. Get on a radio show or get it on our website. But who else committed a bunch of fraud like that prosecutor
Well,
Camilla
um, Camilla
when she was
Harris.
when she was
Oh,
district state attorney general, she committed a lot of nonsense.
doesn't surprise me. Okay, but now here we have the same issue with Fiore.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now remember the Supreme Court Judge Herndon, at the time that he committed this um, horrible act, sending a gentleman to prison, knowing he was withholding evidence. And that is exactly what happened to Fiore.
Yeah, he should be serving time and
And remember, uh, she at the time was not a judge that this allegations of her stealing and embezzling money.
oh,
She was not a judge and she was not a lawyer. So how is the judiciary committee involved here? They have no jurisdiction over her. So that's why this is all, coming into play and very interesting. Um, so I don't know what they're going to do, but that's probably why they have not made a decision yet.
yeah, there's probably a lot to it we don't know.
Exactly. Exactly. And granted, if she did what they are alleging, then, like you say, only God, she'll have to face God.
If she comes back and gets her judgeship back, I hope the first thing she does is take out that battle flag with the gold print.
Oh,
Because that's a corporate deal.
oh. So anyway, I'm just saying there's a lot coming out about her case. And so all I say is for us who are fighting corruption, we have to understand that now that's exactly what she was battling. So, you know,
You got a way to contact these people?
um, on Facebook,
Oh, their Facebook. What's their name?
veterans in politics.
Okay, look them up.
So that's that. And now on the news today, we hear about the city marshals in Las Vegas.
Well, they
That is now going to be a big story. Apparently, they have been going out of their jurisdiction and arresting people. So I didn't hear much. That was all I heard in the very beginning. So now there's another big. To me, that's corruption.
Yeah, I know of a guy. They were going after him, and the city marshals got involved and violated his rights. But the fact it was, they went after him because he was ex uh, public security. You might say he was an MP in the army. He worked for the sheriff's department down in Arizona. And then he came up here and worked for Metro Detective, and he left them. But we called him the common law judge.
Hmm.
He was well versed in common law, and they did not like that.
No, no, and what people have to understand, it's not what every ordinary citizen goes through every day. I mean, we are hearing more and more stories from people, and it's sad. And I'm a law-abiding citizen. I happen to get drawn into this situation because my sister-in-law and my nephew were being taken advantage of, and I stepped in. And then, of course, I became the bad person because I'm trying to, save them, and now they're attacking me. So, and then we bring up Coonsey, District Attorney Coonsey. A lot of people, it's coming up. A lot of people are having issues about their um, cases that are at the DA office. Um, the elder abuse and the child abuse allegations that were being alleged against the CASA worker and the couple in Michigan who have my nephew now. Those two allegations were in the DA's office in screening, they call it. 9 months. I finally sent a letter and I said, listen, you have a conflict of interest according to the Nevada revised statutes. You have to send this to the Attorney General's office, to the Special Investigation Unit.
Yeah,
I said, please, please forward this on. Please advise me. So I did a follow up. A couple of months later, I followed up because I hadn't heard anything. The day after he received my letter, he issued denials on both of them. No reason other than it was his decision. But it was like, you couldn't have sent me a copy of your denial letter on both of them. He didn't. So I made that as part of our lawsuit, which brings me back to the complaint that I filed against 14 defendants, and there's going to be more. I truly believe our appeal is going to go through. And the reason why I believe that is because the senior judge dismissed the case sua sponte, which means even though all 14 defendants did not request a dismissal, the judge himself decided he was going to dismiss the case, stating that I had no standing, that the complaint was too lengthy,
too
and
what? Lazy?
too lengthy.
Oh, lengthy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes. Well, it had 14 defendants, and each of them had, at least 5 types of negligence against them. So I couldn't help how long it was, and I'm not an attorney, but I have the legal right as a United States citizen. I have the legal right to defend myself. And that's what I was doing. And he also said he couldn't make heads or tails of what it was saying. Okay, it was very specific. I was talking English. Lawyers don't talk English. So
what did I tell you they talk?
I can't remember.
Legalese.
Oh, yes.
That's listed as a foreign language.
So anyway, at the least, This judge should have said, all right, Miss Musall, why don't you amend it? He should have at least given me that option, but he didn't. In fact, he said I was not entitled to be involved in this lawsuit that I filed. However, it specifically, we have laws, and there is a Nevada revised statute that clearly states that um, when you have multiple plaintiffs, it says in Nevada, it is possible to file a single complaint for multiple plaintiffs with different allegations against the same defendants, especially if the allegations are intertwined and arise from the same underlying story or series of events. Nevada law allows for the joinder of plaintiffs and defendants in the same action if their claims or defenses arise out of the same transaction, occurrence, or series of transactions or occurrences according to Nevada Revised Statute 173.135. So that was one error on the judge. So I'm hoping the brief that I'm preparing right now, that's going to be one of my defenses. And then he said it was too long, too lengthy. Well, there are no Nevada revised statutes that state you have a specific amount of pages, where there are some subjects where you have a limit of pages, but the complaint doesn't.
Yeah.
And when you have 14 defendants and each of them have 5 violations, how can that not be lengthy? So, and then there's another thing. He says he couldn't make heads or tails. This complaint was very specific to what each of those individuals did to my sister-in-law, my nephew, and myself. So, and the judge says, well, you can file your own complaint. No, I don't have to. And the fact that he said I have no standing.
This is Lane.
No, this is Senior Judge Estes. And the reason why they brought a senior judge in is because I requested Judge Lane to recuse himself. So it automatically got reassigned to Judge Wonker. Well, the day of the hearing, she said, well, Miss Musall, you may want me to recuse myself. And then she explained why. And we're like, yeah. So that day, when we got out of court, I went home. My sister-in-law, we discussed it. I drew up the paperwork and took it to the court. And it took us almost 4 months to get a senior judge assigned. That's a long time.
Yeah, there ain't nothing fast about this stuff.
Well, yeah. Well, I think it was deliberate because I will guarantee you all of these people involved continue to try to stop what I'm doing. And you know what? As long as I can keep fighting and the courts allow me, I'll continue to go.
Yeah, they don't want you destroying their gravy train.
Well, no. And when the senior judge dismissed this case, he allowed others to get away with fraud. You have my sister-in-law's public defender, Boscovich. She filed a fraudulent motion. She filed a motion to dismiss with prejudice because she had immunity. She did not have immunity. No.
No, they don't. Yeah.
Yeah, I know I've talked about this before,
Yeah.
but she didn't. And that was fraud. So by dismissing it, he dismissed her from that. And then also, when he dismissed it, he dismissed fraud on the district attorney's office because the district attorney, Mr. Richardson, had ex parte with Judge Wonker. That's probably why she dismissed herself, because I've been in her court before, in a lawsuit. So she knows me. And I have, that's another thing I wanted to bring up, is because I have filed complaints before and they've made them through. So I find it very interesting that this one very important complaint didn't make it.
Yeah, it's funny how your case has got important to him.
Yes.
Must be a lot of money involved.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. But the fact that they ignored kidnapping, elder abuse, child abuse, I mean, what is wrong with this judge? But I truly believe, and the fact that he refused to hear cases that were calendared for that day. He refused. Yeah. And I have the evidence, the case summaries that states the motions that need to be heard. And the fact that the judge claimed that I had no standing, I'm not an attorney, but I have researched some, and he should have had maybe like a scheduled an evidentiary hearing, to present, so that I could present that, yes, I do have standing in this case. Or he could have at least questioned us at the hearing. He can't just say, nope, you have no standing.
Well, he didn't have a contract with you to begin with, so he had no rights over you.
Nope. And
he
then,
should have recused himself.
Well, all I know is he doesn't know me. So he's going to know me.
They're going to learn about all of us here. I mean, we're planning to make a state lawsuit against the Bar Association.
Oh, the Bar Association.
I mean, this is a right to work state. So why do you have to be a bar member?
Well, and the judge accused me of practicing law without a license and wanted the DA to go after me.
And then you should say, what's your definition of law versus legal?
Well, I should have, but I didn't know that.
Because you're not practicing law, you're practicing legality.
Well, what someone told me was that even though he never came out and said it, but it's like, well, you can't just tell somebody they're practicing law without a license and not explain to them why he's saying that. First of all, my sister-in-law was sitting right there next to me. Second of all, he never asked her any questions. And now we're challenging the legality of her even being deemed incompetent.
And I just thought, you could say, and Your Honor, under the Clearfield doctrine of the Supreme Court, in order for me to practice law, I'd have to have a contract with you. You don't have a contract. How am I practicing law?
Yeah, I wasn't even saying anything for her. And my sister-in-law and I, we always discuss the case. And I always draw up the papers because she's 76. She doesn't use a computer. And so I type everything up. I read it to her. We discuss it, and she has her own opinions. And it's like, I don't understand where he even came up with that. I just honestly don't. I never defended her. She was sitting there. He could have asked her questions.
Yeah.
We went to Judge Lane's court not too long ago.
Did you have the power of attorney?
I have a power of attorney, yes.
Yeah.
And it's specific, and I brought that up to the judge. And I said, well, Your Honor, the power of attorney says I can assist with legal, litigation, and claims. And he's like, well, I don't know where you got that from. Well, I got that from the Nevada self-help. So, I didn't just make it up.
You rained on this parade.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So there's, I'm actually enjoying writing my brief right now. Um, there's a lot to it, but I think I have a lot of good defenses.
Think you can write a script, a play where you put this into a movie? Maybe get Reba to star in this new one?
Well, yeah, yes. Well, funny that you say this
Why?
because today I had a meeting and it had to do with I found, see, I don't like the Facebook. I have never gotten on Facebook, but unfortunately with this situation, I've had to go onto Facebook because sometimes that's the only way I can communicate with certain people. And I saw this article about well, we're looking for real stories, get you to talk to producers and all of this. And after 30 minutes of listening to him, and I said to myself, the first time he says he wants money, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
$399, I can talk to a producer.
Well, we got 2 studios here in town. They got to have some writers on contract.
We do?
They're in Vegas.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, the new ones?
Got the one in Summerlin, and you got Mel Gibson's.
Oh, well, maybe I should do that. But I'm like, and then they said there was like, I think there was like 40 people in our group. And he says, well, there's only 20 of you um, who can get this opportunity. So everybody right now, go fill out the application so that you can meet with the producer and talk about your story. I got out.
Maybe we can get old Elon to fund it.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, he can put himself on as executive director.
So not long after this, I get another email. If you really want to, you can still file your application, which means obviously they did not get the 20 people. Then I got another email.
Or they all ran when they saw the money.
Well, yeah, exactly. Oh, yes. Then I got another email. Well, if you meet with the producer, you get $700 worth of tools and benefits. And it's like, okay, you're asking me for money. Go away.
Yeah.
I mean, I already went in with my eyes open, and I had a very strong suspicion, that was going to happen. But
yeah, actually, that'd make a good movie. You figure all what happened and everything. I think it'd be good. Oh.
Good movie for what?
Special Victims Unit.
Oh, yeah. I could write a series on this.
The FBI. They're one there.
Oh, God.
FBI series.
Oh, the FBI. Don't even get me going with them. If I could file a lawsuit against them, I'd do it too. They've ignored. I have filed with kidnapping. It's a federal offense because my sister, I guess she is technically, legally my niece by marriage, but listen, she crossed multiple state lines, and that's federal. Yep. And the FBI continues to ignore it. Why, I do not know.
Well, we're just hoping to get the right paperwork to the right people, and then things should open up.
All right. Well, one last thing. Okay. Oh, many people are very aware of the high school administration. They need to be revamped. Well, they need new people.
Like I tell people, if you join this private members association, we have the right to set up our own school.
Oh, well, I dread it because my one grandson is graduating this year. And then my other grandson will be going there next year. And I already told my daughter, I am not being quiet. Oh. I had to bite my tongue quite a few times, but I have already warned them. I am not going to be quiet because what they do to these students is horrible. Um, my grandson played baseball for the high school team.
Yeah.
They went to a tournament. Two of the boys were drinking, and someone brought it up to the one of the coaches, and of course he went to the head coach. The head coach talked to somebody. Well, they blamed my grandson. They did no investigation, and I couldn't understand for a couple of weeks why this head coach, who we've known for many years, was just being so rude to my grandson. So anyway, I finally said enough is enough. I called a meeting. I had a meeting with the athletic director. They did an investigation. It was not my grandson. So the head coach was penalizing my grandson, sitting him on the bench, not playing him. He's a good ball player. So anyway, in this meeting I had with the athletic director and the head coach, and after an hour, all of a sudden he blurts out, "Oh my God." He goes, "I trusted those boys that told him it was my grandson." And I just looked at the athletic director and I said, "I told you that's exactly what happened." And do you know that the school did nothing?
I would have fired that coach.
Oh my God. Thank you.
Yeah. You don't need to be
Oh,
teaching public
don't
schools.
you worry. Grandma is not done with them. I went to the superintendent and he did nothing.
Well, I want to thank Miss Julia for her lively time here with us, kind of reviewing her future book
Yeah.
and film, because I think it would make a good story.
Oh,
But,
it would.
and there's other good stories in this town that make.
Oh,
good-
yes.
I mean, this is a writer's dream right here with all this fraud.
Tiffany, the
Oh yeah,
poor
her
situation that Tiffany is
case,
going through.
Tiffany Williams. Yeah.
Oh my
Oh, that's
gosh.
terrible. But anyway, I am Gary Wayne, your host and divine teacher. This was our class. Now, if you're having a constitutional American history, so I'm good at Civil War history too. Uh, if you want to learn something your teacher ain't going to teach you, let us know. You can text me at 775-513-2618. Leave your name, what you're texting about, and your phone number, and I'll text you back. Or I'll have one of our other volunteers do it. And if you want to know about law, we have a good deal on that too.
You can teach the teacher.
Yes. And in fact, I was going to say, I have a friend whose granddaughter was, slow in certain things, but otherwise she's smart. And she read some of the stuff I left there with her grandmother. And she corrected that teacher here in Pahrump, the history teacher. And she said, "You can't tell me you're telling the truth. I got documents that say you're lying." So yeah, they're not teaching you the truth. I tell you with that, because I went through the lousy system. It's all lies. You get out later, you find out what really went on. So I want to thank you for joining us on this Tuesday evening of the 13th, lucky 13, huh? In the year of our Lord, 2025. So it's We the People and God We Trust. Now I suggest everybody buy those shirts at Amazon, t-shirts. They're blue with white lettering. We the People and God We Trust, and wear them to the county commissioners meetings or any other group. So you can tell these corporate employees that you're fed up with these corporations ruling over us. They have no right to. They should be shut down. Remember, this was ruled back in 1942. In 2023, the state corporate of Nevada verified it in the Supreme Court. So, but nobody does anything. They wait for the people filing their lawsuit.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, it's already the law. Just like the law was finalized April 11th They cannot use your name in all capital letters. It's now considered a felony conspiracy to defraud. It's in the RICO Act. Okay. Thank you much for joining us. May God be with you and take care of you, and have a nice week and weekend. We'll see you next Tuesday. Good night.